Good evening. This is Daniel Michael here in Hagerstown, Maryland. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful spring evening. And tonight I thought I would talk just a little bit briefly about Sigil Magick. When I was at the Westminster Rescue Mission for about 10 months, I didn't, as you could imagine, it was a Christian mission. I did not have any occult books at first. Story for another day. Limited tools, you might say. I did have, however, nature, pencil, pen, paper, meditation. I'll start with just a little bit of history. Many accredit modern sigil magic to Austin Osman Spare. Spare was a mystic, a self-styled magician, artist, and author. Very much a renegade. In fact, he wasn't particularly fond of Crowley and the Golden Dawn and all of the magicians of that era. As the father of chaos magic, some people actually see him in that light, that he was actually a father of chaos magic. The purpose of the sigil is to quickly align the person's will with higher power, subconscious, or the collective universe itself. The quick path of the will, you see, without what is sometimes seen, though I'm not trying to be disrespectful here because I'm not disrespectful to tradition, as the excess of ceremony, as the excess of ritual. So it's seen as a pure, uninterrupted implanting of the will into the subconscious mind. Spare himself referred to the direct, unrestricted, connected state as vacuity, unquote. It is an undistracted laser focus of the conscious mind into the higher self. Think of it like a bridge, a real quick bridge is what sigil magic is supposed to be. Now, I will say this. There are different types of sigil magic. There is the historical and traditional use. And honestly, I could see how that could be very, very valuable for someone. I'll briefly go over, very briefly, some traditional stuff. And then we'll get to how do you make a sigil. There are those that believe in tapping into ancient magical streams, if you will. It's one approach obviously preferred by ceremonial magicians or Wicca, ritual magicians, etc., etc. So there are planetary sigils. These planetary symbols were published way back when by Cornelius Agrippa, and before him in other ways, but that's one cited source for some of the ones that are used. There are elemental sigils, earth, air, fire, water, etc. There are Solomonic sigils or Goetic sigils of demonology from the Goetia. The 72 symbols representing specifically demon names. There's the Kabbalistic Jewish mysticism sigils. There are angelic sigils, spawned from the works of John Dee, who had channeled the angelic language. So, let's do an introduction to personal sigils. It's a nice, simple operation that doesn't require much, and you can make it as ritualistic as you want. I actually do add a little ritual to it at times. But in theory, you don't have to. It's a direct path to the will. Anyway, write down your desire. Write it down in the present tense. Very important. In, as I was taught, in the present tense. As if it's already true. Use I am style statements instead of things like I want, I desire, I wish. Use I am, or something close to that. What you then do is subtract the vowels in your statement. In the example I'll picture, I wrote down, I am not anxious. I am brave. This is not a real sigil or spell in the form of something I'm casting. It's just an example to show how. You subtract all of the vowels. Now, do you know some people say the reason for subtracting all the vowels is because the ancient Hebrew alphabet didn't have any vowels. So perhaps it has a link to Jewish mysticism. I love studying this stuff. Anyway, so the remaining letters, of course, repeat ones you can just combine. The remaining letters without vowels, you forge into a symbol. You draw it into a symbol. You can then reduce the symbol, meaning make it less and less. Make it something easy to remember. Or you can make it more elaborate. Once you've formed it out of the words, some say it's yours now and you can alter it. Some say don't alter it from the original letters. Too much. These are debates. As you know, everything in the magical and pagan, Wiccan, etc. magician community is a lot of debate. However, it's yours. I say simplify it, keep it nice and simple. Easy to imprint into your subconscious mind, because that's what you're doing. To activate it, there's what some call maybe the old school way, even though they all are. And that is pleasuring yourself, masturbation. And at that moment of bam, at the moment of release, when your mind's a little blank for a few seconds, is when you stare at and concentrate on that symbol, because it kind of bypasses your subconscious mind into your subconscious mind. Forgive me. It bypasses the conscious mind. Now, there are other ways to activate it. The other one that is common, there are a bunch of them actually, but here's another common one. To get deeply into a trance. To deeply focus. Let's say you've been meditating for a while and you're truly like you're laying down, you're somewhere between asleep and awake. The theta state. From the theta state, let's say you did a breath work, like the Tummo or Wim Hof breathing, and then bam, on that exhale, or during a theta state, when the mind is purely impressionable, open your eyes and stare at the symbol. Trace it with your eyes. Trace it energetically, like beams of light forming the symbol, imprinting it into your brain. This is the method I mostly used and use. Some people will do things in certain traditions, like dance into a frenzy, and then when you get dizzy, like the spinning monks and all that sort of thing, when you get dizzy or tired, even working out hard, whatever the case is, you're getting yourself into that blank state that bypasses the conscious mind. Then stare at the symbol when you're in that blank state. Couldn't think of another way to say it but blank. But I think you know what I mean. There are many others that I've heard about, and again, there's all sorts of ways to use sigils, and some are ancient, and some you create yourself. The purpose of the ones you create for yourself is you're bypassing all other things and going right to your will. The ancient ones, the purpose could be, and often is, that you're tapping into an already existing magical stream that many others before you have tapped into. So I imagine that probably has a nice feeling while engaging in the activity of saying, I'm bonding with the ancestors, with the ancients, with those before me. Anyway, this makes up my brief video on Sigil Magick. I'm sure the topic will come up on Main Street Universe again one day. I was just in a really good mood, had a very productive day that isn't over yet. I'm actually in my room. I can feel a nice cool breeze coming through the window. Remember, the mysteries and possibilities of the universe are closer to Main Street than you may have ever imagined. And I don't know about you, but I can imagine a whole lot. Thank you, and have a great evening.